All right. Um, so students, this is the assignment explanation for getting started with Python assignment. So you have already received the assignment. So I'm just going to explain you how to do this and what are the things that I am expecting, right? So let's get into it. Let me share the screen. All right. So this is your assignment brief. So I hope you all have received this by now. So according to here, see, um, so this is provided by OTHM, and here you can see the assessment criteria. Okay, so this is level 3. So in order to pass in level 3, so you have to provide detailed answer to all parts of the question, right? So you have to provide detailed answers. Okay, students? So detailed answers means not just in one sentence or in few words. You have to explain it. And using AI tools is strictly prohibited. So you cannot use ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, or any other uh, tool like that, right? So clearly, like write detailed answers, and they should be relevant to the question. Okay, so that is the next one. Clearly structured and focused, demonstrating overall coherence and in-depth understanding of the unit content and assessment requirements. So during the lectures, I have explained all the learning outcomes and what we are going to learn in those things. All the slides are provided, right? So in slides, you can see the learning outcomes. So you have to clearly demonstrate, you have to show us that you have met these learning outcomes, right? So your answers should be structured according to that. You have to demonstrate, you have to show us that you clearly understood each and every learning outcome and you have got something out of them. Okay? Evidence of the use of independently sourced material, well applied in all contexts, right? Very few errors in grammar as appropriate. So your grammar should be 95% correct. So there may be a very few errors, but keep it up to very few. Okay. All right. So in order to get a pass, you should be aligned. Your reports should be aligned with these criteria. Okay. Otherwise, it's a fail, right? So these are the learning outcomes. And these things we have already learned, even more than enough we have learned. Okay. So, so all the learning outcomes will be assessed in this uh, assessment. So the scenario is Pythonic calculation. So we learned about these operators and stuff, right? So our the scenario that they have given us is Pythonic calculations. All right. Okay, so let's see how we are going to do this. First of all, just read the scenario. It says, after learning the basics of Python, you are inspired to create a useful application. You have decided to create a program to help you budget your spending, right? Then your calculator will read user input, process it, perform the appropriate calculation, and return the result. So, this is the scenario. This is the whole scenario of the assessment, right? First of all, you need to understand that. So, you have to create an application, right? And that is a calculator, right? So your calculator will get some inputs from the user, then process it, and then give the relevant result. So this is the assessment that you have to do. So you have been given some guidance, okay? So now you know you have to create a calculator, and now you should know what are the things that should be there in your calculator. All right. So let's go through one by one. And before that, the deliverables of this assessment is a 2000 words report, and it should be written in Word format. Okay. So 2000 words is including diagrams, references, and appendices, right? And also another deliverable is your source code. Okay, so you have to attach your source code to the submission as well. And this is not part of the word limit. Okay, your source code is a deliverable, a separate deliverable. Your report is another separate deliverable. So in the report, you have to mention how you did these things, right? And what are your observations, right? And what is your approach, right? So these are the things that you need to include in your report. I will explain that again, right? First of all, let's see what are the guidance that we have been given. Okay, so creating a budgeting calculator, right? Okay, so let's see. First one, create a new Jupyter notebook and test that you can compile and run Python programs by writing a statement that brings a welcome message that explains what the program is for. Okay, so that is your first guideline. So before you do anything, my students, so your program should greet the user and tell them what it does. Okay, right? That is the first thing that you have to do. That is your first task. So this helps them understand why they are running it. Okay. So for an example, you can print a message like, welcome to the budgeting calculator. Or else you can again type something like, this program will help you plan your spending and savings for the next 12 months. Something like that. Okay, do you understand? So first of all, you should tell people, first of all, you should welcome the user and then tell them what it does. Okay, what are you supposed to get done from this application? That is what you have to do. All right, then, so which means you have to always start your program with context for the user. Not even for this assessment, when you are actually building a real world program and application, first of all, you have to provide some context for the user. Okay, so think of it like a cashier. So when someone arrives at the cashier, the person says hello before taking your order, right? So it sets the tone and purpose. So this is what you have to do in your program as well. First of all, you have to greet the user, say welcome to the budgeting calculator, and then you have to print what it does. Okay, so this program will help you plan your spendings and savings, something like that. All right. So this message can differ. You can make your message own message if you want, right? So make it like that. So you know how to print a very basic message. So you can use the word print, and within brackets you can just type whatever the thing that you want to print. Okay. All right. Up to the next one. Then get current savings is what you have to do from the next one. See, modify the program to ask for the user's current savings in your given currency. So each and every word matters. Okay. So you have to ask for the user's current savings and also that in your given currency. Okay. So like before we do any other calculations, first of all, the calculator should know how much money the user already has saved. Okay. So in order for them to calculate how much more they need to save, first of all, the calculator should know how much money the user has already saved. Right. So that's what we have to do. So you know this is taking an input from the user. So let's all take this currency as LKR. Okay, let's take the currency as LKR, right? So you know you can create a variable name and then you know the keyword is input. Then you can enter the message, enter your current savings in LKR. Okay, so I'm not going to do these things and show you because this is your assessment. Just listen and take a hint on how you have to do this. Okay, so you can create a variable and then to that variable you can assign a input function, and through that input function you can write a message, enter your current savings in LKR. So you have given the currency. Okay, and the thing that you need to know is when you take an input, this is taken as a string. I always tell you, when you take an input, if you do not specify the data type, it is in default taking as a string. Okay. So what do we have to do now? Right? Modify your program to take the user input and convert it into a number. Decide whether to convert to an int or a float. Make a note of the reasoning behind your choice. Now, this is straightly directed to your report. Okay, you have to make a decision. It says you have to convert it either into an integer or a float. So choose one and make a note. Why did you choose this? Okay. So if you choose int, what is the reason? If you choose float, what is the reason? So I'm not going to help with that. That is going to be your decision, and your explanations should be very clear. Okay. As I told you in the criteria, detailed explanations for the reason of your choice. And also, you should have a good point. Okay. So that is what I am expecting. So at this step, you have to convert the input to the relevant data type. Okay, that's what you have to do. Then ask for the user's monthly income and desired savings at the end of a 12-month period. And convert to the appropriate types. So understand this very clearly, students. Okay, So this is a budgeting calculator, right? It will help you to save, right? So now the program knows how much current savings you have. Okay, how much savings you have now, that is known to the calculator, right? So now I am asking you to ask the user what is your desired savings? How much do you need to save at the end of 12-month period, right? Just ask how much do you want to save, right? So that is what we need to get next. So you can create, right? So you can, and also not only the desired savings, also the monthly income. How much do you earn in a month? What is your monthly salary, right? Not just the salary. There may be lateral income ways, right? So how much altogether, how much do you earn for a month? Okay. So in the next step, you have to ask the user for the monthly amount that the monthly income of them, and also how much they are looking forward to save at the end of a 12-month period. Okay, and in the same step convert to the appropriate types. Okay, so you can take it as a float or take it as an integer, and you have to create two variables first, right? Probably as monthly income and the next one as desired savings, right? So take those two variables, then convert the default data type string into a integer or a float that is of your choice. And you have to ask the user to enter something. So for the monthly income one, you can ask something like enter your monthly income in LKR. Okay, a simple message. And for the desired savings, you can something like um, enter your desired savings after 12 months in LKR, something like that. Okay, or else you can ask a very user-friendly question like, how much are you uh, looking forward to save in next 12 months, right? Or else a very formal message such as enter your desired savings after 12 months in LKR. Please specify the currency. It is there in the assignment. Okay, specify the currency. Then, for an example, now it's like this, students. So if your goal is like 500,000 after a year, let's say you have to save 500,000 at the end of 12 months, and you already have 100,000. Okay, you already have 100,000. So the program will figure out how much to save every month to get there. Okay, because it knows your monthly income, it knows your current savings, it knows what is your desired saving. So you can subtract the current savings from the desired saving, then you have the remaining amount. Then the calculator should know how much you have to save each month to get there, right? So that is the logic behind this. All right. So let's see the next step. So in the next step, calculate the amount of money the user needs to save from their income each month in order to achieve their desired savings goal. Now we have come to the calculation part. So think wisely, okay? Think wisely and come up with this formula, right? I'm not going to tell you the formula, right? But I'll give you some hints for an example, okay? The goal is 500,000 and the current savings is 100,000, okay? So which means I will show you, right? Wait. So let's say current savings is 100,000. Okay. And the desired savings is 500,000. Okay. So how much money does the user need to save? Yeah, so 500,000 minus 100,000. So that is going to be 400,000. Okay. So the user needs to save 400,000 more, right? And the user has 12 months. So 400,000 should be divided by 12, right? So it's something like 33,333, something like that, right? 0.33, something like that. Okay. So you have the current savings, you have the desired saving. So you have to get the difference of that. Okay. And then you have to divide that remaining amount by 12. So I gave you a very massive hint, right? The answer is there, but still you have to figure out the formula for that. Okay. So this is how you do it. All right, students. Then, so the calculation part is done. And then what you have to do is, mm, right, next question. By explicitly converting the numeric values to strings, print a message that explains how much user is allowed to spend each month to achieve their desired savings in gold. Ah, now this is fun, right? So now let me explain that as well, right? So let's say um now you know the monthly income of the user as well. Monthly income. Okay. So let's say the monthly income of the user is 60,000, right? So the user needs to save 33,333 to achieve that desired saving. So to do that, like the user can spend only like 60,000 minus 33,333. So you will get an amount. So that is the amount the user can spend. Okay. So you know the monthly income of the user, right? So you have to uh so you have to sorry. So you have to specify how much money the user can actually spend in each and every month. Okay. And you have to convert it into a string, right? So you have to convert it into a string, probably round that off, and then you can print a message like you can spend LKR the amount each month. Okay. So that is what you have to do. Round it off by, can you say like you can spend only 33,333.33? No, just round it off. So that will be easy. All right. So that is what you have to do next. Then ask the user for the amount that they are currently saving, and by using this value without using if statements, no if statements, print true if the user is on the track for their savings goal and false if not. You will need to create a binary variable and convert this to a string. So in the first lesson, you didn't know about the if statements. So you cannot use if statements here. Okay. So what you have to do here is, so you have to uh, print true if the user is on track for their savings goal, but if they have spent more than what they are supposed to spend, then you have to print false. Okay, so how are we going to do this without a if statement? So this is the logic behind it. So you know something called comparison. Okay, you know something called comparison, right? So what you can do is, students, you can create another variable called current monthly saving. Okay, then ask the user how much savings have you done in this month, right? So you can create another variable called on track, right? So convert it into string, right? Because in strings you can compare each and every character. So that's why you have to convert it into a string, right? Then you have to see whether the current monthly saving is actually greater than or equals to the required savings per month, right? So if it is uh, true, then you can print it. Okay, so you can print like on track to meet goal, then with a colon. Yes, on track. If it is, if on track variable is true, it will print true. If the on track variable is false, it will print false. Okay, so use the comparison, not if statements, right? Okay. So why did I say convert it into a string? Because we need to print it. Okay. So what we have to do is just comparing. Let's say the user entered 35,000. So 35,000 is actually greater than or equals to 33,333. So this on track variable becomes true. So in the print statements, when you type like, um, let's say, you can type on track to meet the goal, then it becomes true. It prints true. Okay, that's what you have to do. Then critically review the code you have written. Does it adhere to the Python Zen? Use the pep style guide to align the style of your code that in the guide. Okay. So now you know about the Zen of Python, right? You know about the pep page style, right? So like keep spaces around the operators, about the variable names, then the four space indentation, right? Limit your lines to 79 characters. You know the pep page style. Then the Zen of Python, you have to keep it simple, right? Make it readable. Okay. So likewise, you have to report whether your code is according to these two guidelines. Okay. Do a code review. Make sure that you attach some screenshots to prove that your code adheres to these things. All right. So do that. So create a report of 2,000 words, as I told you, and include all your, so explicitly include your approach. How did you take decisions? Why did you do this? All right. So answer these questions and then you will have um, content for your report. Okay. Why did you do this? How did you do this? What is the thing that you did? Right? And what is the reason for your decision? Okay. So likewise, use these things and make a good report. All right. So that is what you have to do. And you can place your reference list at the end of the page. So you can use the Harvard referencing style, right? So, and make sure that you are using relevant academic and reliable sources, not everything that you found in on the internet. Okay. So these things should be relevant to your coursework, right? So properly cite those things, right? Your citations should be appropriate and proper. So those are the things that we have to discuss about the assignment, my students. So make sure that you go through the references that you have been given. So if those references are not enough, just find some other references as well. Those are reliable. Okay. Make sure that you meet this criteria. All right. So that is what you have to do in your assignment, students. All right. So I hope that's clear, and good luck for everyone with your assignment. Hope to see you in the next class with the next module. Okay. All right. Thank you for watching.